G'day folks, it's Rob here, and there's a look at my very messy work area at the moment. Just on the deck here today because I thought I'd give you all a bit of a gander at our very messy, very overgrown backyard. It's also doubling as a bit of a storage area as well. So I thought what I'd do is just run through a couple of plans we have for the place. Obviously we haven't done anything out in the patch at the moment, mainly because we're still settling in and tidying up a few bits and pieces in the house. In fact, Bianca and I are still sleeping in the lounge room until we can fix all the falling plaster in our bedroom. I thought we'd pop downstairs and find the Lizzie dog. She's down there somewhere wandering around, and go for a bit of a wander through the patch. Just quickly before we get into the clip, I thought I'd give you a bit of an update on Lizzie. Had a couple of people ask about her. She's still addicted to the ball. Do you really want to chase this ball, Lizzie? Yes, of course you do. She's pretty much, well, just ever since we've had her and previously, all she did was chase a ball all day, and we think that's what's caused a lot of the damage to her legs. We're not throwing it for her anymore. She's got a little tiger upstairs we throw at her, and the ball as well we'll throw at her, but we're not making her chase it. This front left paw is the one that's giving her the most grief. We're actually carrying her downstairs, and you feel very undignified about being carried, don't you, Lizzie? Yes, of course you do. So yeah, we've given her a couple of supplements, some green lip mussel and some other bits and pieces we've got on order, but she's also on some other osteo care at the moment. And she has picked up. We've also removed cereals from her diet. So yeah, whether it was she was a bit depressed because we were packing up at the other house and that made her feel a little bit worse or whatever, but she was looking pretty bad there for a couple of weeks, but she's looking better now. Anyway, that's enough of Lizzie. Sorry sweetie, no more exploitation. We'll go for a bit of a look out the back here. I have set up the Vegepod. I gave our supporters over on YouTube, on members area and subscribe star a bit of a look the other day. Not a lot in it at the moment. We've only got some rainbow chard and some bush beans, and they're actually doing rather well. There's some noticeable growth, especially on some of the beans. This Vegepod was situated over there, and unfortunately the guys gave a bit of a nudge with some machinery or whatever, and they've cracked the top of the frame here, the little T-piece there at the top. So I'm going to have to find some way to replace that or repair it. The Vegepod for now is sitting on this side underneath the deck because the sun tracks this side through winter. So it's nice and level, which means I don't have to worry about leveling it up. And yeah, hopefully we'll get a decent harvest out of here soon. We've been missing our beans. Down here we have our lots of lemon, which is a dwarf container variety of lemon. The guys accidentally nudged this with the earth moving equipment and knocked it half off its self-watering tray as well. But yeah, it doesn't look to be suffering too much. So we are getting loads of flowers on there at the moment, and we have some more buds that are coming through just there, and we have some small fruit. But I did post a picture to social media pages earlier today on this little bunch here. It's a bunch of 6 fruit. And yeah, I think I'm going to have to prop this branch up a bit so it doesn't pull the tree down too much, because there is some more fruit coming on over here. I've also noticed I'm getting some scale on here as well. Ants are coming up and mining them. They're just like aphids, the scale. They release some honeydew and the ants feed off that. So there's 1 or 2 ants walking up and down there now. And what happens is you end up with this black sooty mold on the leaves. If we can get some in the sun for you to see. Where are we? There we go. That's a byproduct of it all. So how I've controlled this in the past is just by blasting it with a hose, but I did that when it didn't have any fruit on it. So this time I might try a soapy liquid spray, because there's if all goes to plan and they set fruit like the other bunch, we're going to end up with a ton of lemons on here. So obviously I've been doing something right. Down here, amongst the weeds, we have a little Australian native violet. This is one that Kira brought back from a native nursery on a school camp a couple of years ago. It's absolutely spectacular little flowers on it, and it's self-sown one little plant down here, and we have had a number of little seed pods open up that I've tried to capture seeds from, but the seeds that I've got I've misplaced basically as we were around at the cottage when I collected them. So yeah, hopefully we might get some more of this to grow around the place. The plan is, with the redesign of the yard, to grow some more natives around the place to entice the insects. I mean, these flowers here are beautiful, but it would be nice to grow some more. What do you think, Lizzie? You think yes? Okay. Next to it we have a poor pepino that's not doing too well. These barrels were shoved and bumped so much, and they had dirt tossed in there from around the place, so they really do need to be probably dug out, or maybe take some cuttings from it and strike them again to see how they go. But Nathan, she's still growing, mate. Oh, and obviously we still have a lot of debris. We still need to do a bit of an emu parade for any of you old scouts out there and pick up all the trash and get rid of that. Down the back here we've got the warrigal greens going Burko as always. They're a great little weed to grow if you like a spinach substitute. And we still have some paper planes down here from our visitors, I see. Had some kids around last weekend and they were doing paper planes off the veranda or deck. The blueberries, the poor old blueberries were a little bit neglected over the last couple of months. I really should have given them more of a top feed and maybe a bit of a potassium boost and phosphorus boost, because both of them are good for flower and fruit setting. We've got very minimal fruit set on here. We have had another flush of flowers, but I don't think I got the feed into them quick enough. This plant is doing fairly average. The ones over the back here are doing a little bit better. These guys here are doing a little bit better. So, you know, fingers crossed we might get a cup full or two, but yeah, basically these guys need more attention. I just didn't give it to them while we weren't in the house. Oh, and these little pretty flower buds here are pigeon pea. So there's one that's, a couple that are open up the top there. So these are just self-sown volunteers that are popping up around the place. There was a massive one growing just down in there. You might be able to make out the stump, or maybe not, just down in there. And those plants there, and there's a couple over the back have all popped up from that. The papaya here, this is our papaya in the air pruning wicking barrel, and as you can see there are a couple of fruit on over there. This is another plant that was neglected, a bit on purpose because I didn't want it growing too Burko while we weren't here. And we've actually run into a bit of a problem. She has some stem rot, and as you can see I really do need to mow the grass as well. She's starting to get stem rot. So the plan is to take off some cuttings. Hopefully she's going to last until the end of winter, because I really don't want to take any cuttings off now because they tend to do better in warmer weather from what I've read. So I might end up trying to stake her up for now. And these fruit over here, or at least that big one down there, will end up coming off and being used in a salad. Just going around to the lime tree, and yeah, thought I'd show you another volunteer tomato that's popped up just in the middle of the walkway. So just around here at the lime tree, now this one here has been our best producer over the last couple of months. It's steadily been giving us limes. We've got a few at different stages of growth, and we have another load of flowers coming on. I picked a couple the other day, about half a dozen, and I noticed before when I walked down that I have 4 more that have fallen that I missed. There's 1 there and 3 over there. So I need to pick them up today, and I think there's a few other that are just turning yellow on the other side I need to pick. But this tree here has been getting a bit of a feed. I moved back in the other week and started going through some of my garden stuff I had stashed down there, and found a 25 litre container of urine. So it's well-aged urine, folks, so all the pathogens are dead. It's just basically a nitrogen-based fertilizer now. So I've been putting 250 mils or a cup worth into a 9 litre or 2 gallon watering can, and I've just been splashing it under the tree here and around the Queensland arrowroot. And yeah, hopefully that will help pick the plant up. Yeah, fingers are crossed that these flowers are going to create massive hands like the lemon tree. I don't know if that's possible, but yeah, hopefully we'll get a load of fruit set on here. And yes, there are deficiencies in the leaves. Every time I post a clip on this, someone points it out. They've been pointing it out for 3 or 4 years now, and yet she continually keeps giving us fruit. So more fruit than we can use, and we give loads away. So, you know, it's not something I'm overly concerned about. If the tree was well and truly malnourished, she would have been dead by now. So, Lizzie, you found somewhere nice to sit down and chew your ball. Just down here, I will show you the mess. This is a lot of the gardening stuff that is of real no monetary value. So we decided to leave around the house bits and pieces, like we've got the old worm bathtub there, and we've got some containers over the back, some filter containers for the aquaponics, and a fish tank. So all this stuff will be moving either into under the house, or we'll be giving some of it away. We might be selling some of it, and a lot of it hopefully will be used around the yard. That's the reason I kept it. But the plans for this area here, in the hoop house in particular, they're not set in stone at the moment. I was hoping to have a raft aquaponic system in here with the beds underneath a hoop construction. Probably not this one, probably something similar. The reason I've chosen this location is that the ground is fairly flat, not dead flat, but fairly flat. So it'll be easy to level off with a little bit of a terrace, just using some sleepers. So the grow beds would be in there, and the fish tanks would actually be over the back where those little barrel beds are in the current aquaponic system. So it would be shaded in summer from the trees on that side in the afternoon, and through winter, as you can see, the barrel has a little bit of sunlight on it, and we will be trimming this mango back, mainly because we are looking at trying to make it a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable, and we also want space to pop a macadamia tree down the back. So yeah, there will eventually be a fish tank there, pipe work going under the ground here, underneath the walkway, up into the bed with a sump tank down the end that will pump the water back through to the fish tank and have it all flow by gravity down to here. So that's what I would like to do. We'll just have to wait and see how long it takes to either for that to eventuate, or Bianca might even have a better idea yet. We'll just wait and see. But first on the list is an aquaponics system. Down here is the chook shed that was started but was never finished, and even though a lot of people were complaining I never finished it before we moved out, I'm so glad we didn't have chickens in here while we were renovating. It just would have made life a whole lot more hectic, having to maintain these guys as well as working around builders and that sort of thing. Down the back here, it is looking a little bit dead, and that's because that's a turmeric bed, and there's a turmeric barrel just down in here. And obviously during winter, they don't like the cold weather and they die back. So that plot's died back, so is the other one. And the ginger over the back there is also starting to die back as well. The coffee is well and truly ready to be harvested. It's just something I haven't gotten to yet, but I will be harvesting it today, pulling off the really mature berries and starting to process them on the weekend. We're going to ferment all the little skins off of them. Any of the ones that are not so mature, we might eat the flesh ourselves, have a bit of a nibble. Just stand up on these pile of bricks. Just to give you a bit of a bird's eye view, one of our ideas is to still keep the chicken area down around here, but we need some sort of a walkway between the what will be the aquaponics hoop house and the chicken area. So we're thinking about creating a little bit of an alleyway through there that's paved to help stop the weeds growing through. And then this area down the back here will be pretty much all chickens. We do have the spice beds down here, and the plan is to actually remove them because I'd like to put a macadamia tree just round about there and the coffee tree here. It will be planted out as well, somewhere down around here. These beds, that one there could actually be used as a earthen bed, which is basically a soil powered aquaponic bed, which is basically a dual zone, if you want to call it that, aquaponic bed, water through the bottom, and then it floods up, wets the soil. So the plants in there have both the nutrient-rich aquaponic water, plus all the benefits of the microbes and mycorrhiza from a soil bed. That's how Paul Van had them set up originally. I just never really had the space to set them up once I got them here. And the poor papaya in there, I will probably try and keep this one in particular. Hopefully we'll get some branches off it and I can clone it and grow it somewhere else in the yard. But yeah, it was just a volunteer that popped up in there from some compost, and as you can see, it's had to be strapped up and it will fall over if we take the strap off. Just quickly, I need to send a huge shout out and thanks to one of our longest supporters, Lee, who's a local. She just dropped around this housewarming gift of a coffee maker to be used in upcoming workshops and whatnot. So thank you very much, Lee. Always great to have a bit of a chat with you. Yeah, now back to the aquaponics. And Lizzie's looking for a ball. The aquaponics, well, the aquaponics as you see it here, 2 fish tanks, solids filter, which is a radial flow settler, moving bed biofilter, just an empty drum at the moment that then feeds into the sump tank and then grow beds. All that will be changing. One of the main reasons is because of the location of the house now. It's not even midday in winter, and as you can see, we're starting to get some shade over this fish tank here. Shade is not your friend during winter if you want to keep the fish warm. So I'm thinking of moving one fish tank down near the other one that I'm planning, down the bottom, and then move the grow beds up the top here. Pretty much just along the front area here, so they can receive as much sun as possible through winter. And then yeah, we may move a little bit out towards this side of the yard as well to take advantage of that winter sun. We'll just wait and see. Winter for us really isn't that long and doesn't really get that cold, so as long as I select the right crops, even if they do get afternoon shade, we should be able to push a whole load of greens through there, particularly the Asian greens and things like that. It will mean I will need to redesign some aspects like the electrical box there. It will need to move out of the way so we can put a grow bed there. The whole hoop house structure over the top will be coming down, and I'll have to redesign this little terrace area as well. The builders sort of run over one corner of it. And also too, this whole area here, if I can spin around, will be changing somewhat as well. We're looking at putting a retaining wall, just a small one through there, just on the other side of those bricks, which means the lemon tree needs to move obviously, and building this up to a flattish sort of area. One stipulation Bianca did have is I'm allowed to have free rein in the garden as long as she gets a little section of grass. So this little terraced area here will have lawn on it with a Hills Hoist clothes dryer round about where that pile of dirt is there. So I don't mind, sacrificing this little bit of lawn. It'll also be somewhere nice for us to sit as well, mainly because the rest of the area down the back here will either be paved using the second-hand pavers we have down the back that I've moved around the yard and used in multiple places, or hopefully wood chip if we can get enough from the local suppliers. And not just wood chip, I'm looking at tree loppers mulch basically, so it's going to have leaves in there, small stems as well as the larger wood chips, basically because that's going to put a lot more nutrients into the soil than just a normal timber wood chip that you can buy from the landscapers. So I'm sorry that there's no flashy animations or graphics to give you a better idea on how we want to lay out the area here. I've just been flat out the last week or so, as you can expect, moving into the home. We still haven't had the certifier through to sign off, so the loan still hasn't been finalised. So we're pretty much all focusing on getting that done at the moment. I have been looking at how I'm going to rearrange the garden somewhat over the last week. But yeah, it's one of those things that is just going to take time. Before I go, I really do need to thank all you marvellous folks who have stuck by us through the renovation process, continuing to watch the clips and support us. We really do appreciate it. There will be a lot more gardening and aquaponics clips from now on, now that I'm home and I'm almost focused on the yard. Still a few things to do here, but yeah, I will be getting back into it with more weekly updates for you folks and how-to clips and bits and pieces like that. Also too, a huge thanks to all those supporters out there on Subscribestar and the YouTube membership forum and those supporting us just through PayPal. Thank you very much, folks. We really do appreciate the help that you guys have given us. It's saved my butt a few times through the renovation, I can tell you. And also too, you super subscribers out there, thank you very much as well. For you folks who aren't aware, there are some that go above and beyond, and I've linked their businesses and Facebook pages down in the description below the clips. And if you could check them out and show them some love, I really would appreciate it. But yeah, I'm going to stop rabbiting on. Thank you very much once again for coming along. I hope your gardens are booming, and I will catch you next clip. Cheers all, have a top one.